Now at 6, a break in a murder mystery. A security guard is arrested, charged with killing a woman inside her apartment. Tonight, we're learning the gruesome details about how that Orlando woman died. This is News 6 at 6. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. It is a story News 6 has been following for almost 2 weeks now. Orlando police say they had their eye on Stephen Duxbury from the very beginning, but they say it took some strong detective work to connect him to the murder.
Duxbury agreed to take a polygraph test that experts say he failed. There was a 99.7% chance he lied on key questions like, did you enter Sasha's apartment that night? No. Did you know who caused Sasha's death?
The evening of Friday, October 16, 2015, started out joyfully for 27-year-old Sasha Samsudean, a vivacious young woman known for her active social life. After attending a soccer game with friends, Sasha headed to one of her favorite clubs in Orlando, Florida, to cap off the night. But amid the revelry, a predator disguised as a protector had set his sights on Sasha, leading to a horrific outcome. Sasha said goodbye to her companions around 12:30 a.m. after celebrating her team's win with dinner, dancing, and more alcohol than intended. Though tipsy, the social media manager for a prominent real estate firm set out for home on foot, typically a 10-minute journey. Along the way, 2 young girls noticed the attractive brunette stumbling and feared she was in trouble. Wanting to help, they offered to share an Uber. Grateful, Sasha accepted the kind gesture, aware she couldn't make it much farther alone. While waiting, Sasha chatted with the lucid but inebriated girls. When the Uber arrived, she asked to be taken to the upscale Uptown Place apartments, saying it was home. Still concerned, the teens walked Sasha to the entrance to ensure she got inside safely. But Sasha realized she had left her keys somewhere and couldn't access the high-security building. The guard, Stephen Duxbury, said no one could enter without a key or proof of residency. Sasha was out of luck until a resident recognizing her arrived and let her in. After Duxbury assured the girls he'd take over, they left, believing Sasha was in good hands. Inside, surveillance cameras covering the entrances caught Sasha heading upstairs to her third-floor apartment, Duxbury following close behind. Detectives later learned when they reached Unit 345, she punched in the keypad code, but it didn't work. Though trying to remember the sequence, Sasha couldn't with Duxbury looming over her. In a moment of clarity, Sasha realized her keys and code were probably in her car. Not wanting to go to the parking garage alone, she asked Duxbury to accompany her, which he did. But halfway there, Sasha stopped, saying she suddenly remembered the code. They returned inside toward the third floor. With no cameras in the halls or stairwells, investigators had to rely on Duxbury for what happened next. Duxbury claimed around 3 a.m. he told Sasha he needed to patrol and would be back. Returning later, the hall was empty, so he assumed Sasha had gotten inside. He continued his rounds. The next morning, Sasha's friend Anthony Roper expected her for breakfast, but she never appeared. Assuming she had slept in, he dined alone. By afternoon, still not hearing from Sasha, he tried calling unsuccessfully. Sensing something wrong, Anthony gathered mutual friends to check on Sasha. Seeing her car parked as usual, they knocked to no avail, then called police to request a welfare check. Officers arrived, and Duxbury helped them inside. On the bed, under a comforter with one arm exposed, was Sasha's body. When the cover was lifted, she had clearly suffered a brutal attack. Detectives were summoned. Sasha's torn panties showed a violent sexual assault. Bruising on her face and neck indicated a vicious beating before being strangled. Defensive wounds revealed she had fought fiercely for her life. The medical examiner later found enough pressure was applied to fracture her larynx. The room reeked of chemicals, and the cleaning supply cabinet stood open. The killer had scrubbed the room and body in an effort to destroy evidence, but he had overlooked some critical components of his crime, including a discarded condom wrapper and leaving the toilet seat up after use. 2 unidentified prints were lifted from underneath. Missed DNA was also recovered from Sasha's body. Though Sasha's phone was missing, detectives found her synced iPad. A 5:12 a.m. text to her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Ben, consisted only of his name. Hoping neighbors had seen or heard something, detectives learned a man doing late-night laundry claimed to see Duxbury trailing Sasha through the halls. Though unnecessary given the building's high security, he hadn't thought much of it. of it then. Reviewing CCTV from that night showed Sasha entering alone at 1:46 a.m., steady on her feet. Duxbury followed her in nearly every frame after that. Inexplicably, Duxbury was also seen at 6:36 a.m., over 30 minutes after his shift ended, carrying 2 white drawstring trash bags to the parking garage. Investigators noted they were the same type as an open box in Sasha's apartment. Seeing Duxbury had never before disposed of trash after prior shifts, detectives questioned his motives: an unusually diligent guard or a predator covering his tracks. Instinct, said the latter. When interviewed just hours after the body's discovery, Duxbury gave a timeline of his interactions with Sasha, from denying her entry without ID to leaving her in the hallway to finish his rounds. Believing it could be important, Duxbury mentioned seeing Sasha, or someone resembling her, with a Caucasian male in a polo shirt and casual pants that morning. But footage revealed no one matching that description entering or leaving. To eliminate Duxbury as a suspect, detectives asked him to take a polygraph, which he readily agreed to, having nothing to hide. But the results showed deception on every question about Sasha's rape and murder. He had failed miserably. Noticing fresh abrasions on Duxbury's arms, investigators photographed them as likely bite and scratch marks. After CCTV snippets were released publicly, the girls who had ridden with Sasha came forward, matching Duxbury's account. While he was clearly mixing lies with truth, there wasn't yet enough evidence to charge him. But detectives were confident it was imminent. Seeking to exclude other suspects, detectives questioned Sasha's ex-boyfriends, including Ben, who had tried calling after her text. Eager to help, they willingly provided DNA, but none matched the perpetrators. The helpful tenant who had let Sasha inside was also tested and cleared. 3 days after the murder, the fingerprints from the toilet seat and victim's chest came back to Duxbury. When re-interviewed, unaware his DNA was at the scene, Duxbury insisted he didn't know Sasha and had never been in her apartment. But detectives knew he was lying and let him go, wanting more evidence before making an arrest. Exactly 1 week after the murder, a warrant was served at Duxbury's home and phone. Though he had erased the search history, technicians restored the data, providing a chilling look inside the mind of a monster. At 5 a.m., he had looked up how to bypass a keypad lock. 12 minutes later, the woman he had been stalking tried texting her boyfriend, but only typed his name before being interrupted. On October 30th, 2015, Duxbury, tasked with protecting the Uptown Place residents, was arrested for burglary, sexual battery, and first-degree murder.
Now at 6, a break in a murder mystery. A security guard is arrested, charged with killing a woman inside her apartment. Tonight we're learning the gruesome details about how that Orlando woman died. This is News 6 at 6. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. It is a story News 6 has been following for almost 2 weeks now. Orlando police say they had their eye on Stephen Duxbury from the very beginning, but they say it took some strong detective work to connect him to the murder of Sasha Samsudean. News 6 reporter Eric Sandoval spent the afternoon getting answers about who this man is, and now new at 6, he's looking at how police connected him to her murder. So Eric, what did you find out?
Well, Stephen Duxbury was a security guard here at the Uptown Place Apartments, Lisa, and Orlando police investigators say his story just didn't add up at all. Add to that he had scrapes and even a bite mark on his arm. It took some close attention to detail until Orlando police gathered enough evidence to arrest him and charge him with first-degree murder. Orlando police investigators say 33-year-old Stephen Duxbury was arrested around 10:30 this morning at his home in Port Orange. They say Duxbury was a security guard here at the Uptown Place Apartments in downtown Orlando the night 27-year-old Sasha Samsudean arrived home after a night out with friends.
As a security guard, he used his access to prey on someone who was very vulnerable.
Police Chief John Mina and his investigators say Duxbury sexually battered Samsudean and strangled her in her apartment. They say he then wrapped her body in her comforter, using bleach to get rid of any DNA evidence. Investigators say Duxbury didn't realize he left behind some shoe prints on her carpet, and he also left behind fingerprints on her toilet seat, which he left up. Detectives said they hope Duxbury's arrest lets residents here sleep easier tonight.
Well, I can let them know they can rest at ease now. I can't imagine the last 2 weeks how they were living, knowing what happened, what's going on. Somebody was murdered in our complex.
But is this a sign that downtown living is getting more dangerous? The chief told us no. He said crime is actually down.
This crime could have happened in any apartment complex in any city in the United States.
And back out here live outside the Uptown Place Apartments, the office here actually closed early today because management didn't want to have to answer reporters' questions about their own security guard committing this crime possibly. Now, Duxbury is actually in the Volusia County Jail right now because he lives in Port Orange. He's supposed to be brought back to Orange County to face these charges possibly over the weekend. We're live in Orlando. Eric Sandoval, News 6.
Eric, thank you.
After 2 years of delays, Duxbury's trial began in November 2017. Medical examiner Dr. Gary Utz detailed Sasha's substantial injuries: raped, beaten, and manually strangled, with inner thigh scrapes consistent with Duxbury's utility belt. The defense suggested someone else killed Sasha after consensual sex with Duxbury, speculating she died during rough sex with a boyfriend post-Duxbury. As often occurs in such cases, the victim was disparaged by those defending the accused. Prosecutors acknowledged Sasha's intoxication, but stressed she had returned to an apartment building with enhanced security, only to be victimized by someone she trusted. They contended Duxbury, an opportunistic predator, targeted the vulnerable Sasha. Though the defense tried changing the narrative, the evidence spoke for itself.
Security guard accused of raping and killing a woman at a downtown apartment complex was back in court today.
News 6 reporter Mark Lehman explains what happened at this morning's hearing just days before his trial is set to start.
This is the last time Stephen Duxbury will be in court before his trial begins. As now both sides are making their final preparations, the defense is also still trying to get some evidence dismissed.
You'll get your order on the motion to suppress probably on Friday.
The judge immediately addressing a motion filed by attorneys of 35-year-old Stephen Duxbury. With the trial less than a week away, the defense is asking the judge to limit key evidence in the case. It surrounds these documents filed on Monday. The defense saying analysis shows a pair of sneakers collected from Duxbury's apartment only appear to match a bloody footprint found inside the apartment of 27-year-old Sasha Samsudean. She was killed at Uptown Place while Duxbury was working as a security guard in the building in 2015. His attorney saying speculation should not be admitted as evidence, but the state says the motion is untimely and should be struck by the court, especially with the trial right around the corner.
State?
Yes.
How many days do you need?
I would estimate about 5.
Both prosecutors and the defense saying they expect testimony in the case to last for 5 days. Duxbury's attorneys also hinting additional motions could be filed, to which the judge said time is running out.
All right, we'll get them filed because you need to have them heard in front of me before Monday. So I would suggest you get them filed, which means you have them tomorrow.
After the judge issues her order on any outstanding motions on Friday, both sides are expected to be back up in court first thing on Monday. Jury selection is scheduled to begin starting at 9 a.m. For now, reporting in Orlando, Mark Lehman, News 6.
After a week of testimony, the jury deliberated 4 hours before convicting on all counts. Seeing through the defense tactics, they had acted decisively. Duxbury received life without parole for the sexual assault and murder, plus 15 additional years. Though pleased, Sasha's parents were appalled by the preventable events at Uptown Place. Unable to move past the chain of events costing their daughter's life, in 2017, they sued the condo association, security company, and keypad lockmaker.
The family of a woman murdered in her downtown Orlando apartment is taking legal action more than a year and a half after the death of Sasha Samsudean. Her parents have filed a lawsuit against Uptown Apartments, Kwikset Lock Company, and Vital Security Company. The man charged in the case, Stephen Duxbury, was a security guard at the complex. News 6 reporter Vanessa Ariza has been reading through the lawsuit and talked with the attorney representing the Samsudeans.
Matt, that attorney tells me that he wouldn't mind talking with the media, but he doesn't want to jeopardize this case. That being said, one of those companies listed in the lawsuit is Kwikset. They make locks very similar to this one. In fact, this is a Kwikset lock. And in that lawsuit, they have a picture very similar to this, and it specifically notes this little side nugget on the side. This 101-page lawsuit lays out why the parents of 27-year-old Sasha Samsudean want to pursue legal action against Uptown Apartments, Kwikset Corporation, and Vital Securities and Investigations. Early in the lawsuit, a picture of this lock is shown. It's a Kwikset lock.
Kwikset is very popular. It's, like I said, it's in 95% of the homes. There's 2 brands that are out there, Schlage being one of them, Kwikset being another. Those are what we see quite a bit, especially in the Central Florida area.
Bo Armstrong with Armstrong Lock and Security says there's a convenience with locks like this one, but also a risk. See that little slot to the left of the lock? That allows you or anyone who has access to your key to reset your lock to fit another key.
With that particular lock, there are some methods to manipulate that open without showing any signs of forced entry. So that a homeowner wouldn't even know that someone got into a home through that cylinder. It would take a forensic locksmith to kind of point out some things.
The lawsuit also notes the interior of the lock, saying this piece of plastic on the inside makes it easy for someone to break in. Armstrong says with these type locks, the way of getting in has more to do with manipulation of the lock itself rather than unlocking the key code. Earlier today, I went inside Uptown Apartments to speak with a representative. I was directed to their corporate office. I have emailed them. I have yet to get a response from them. Now, as far as Kwikset, they did send me a response saying they stand behind the security of their locks and they will continue and help in any way that they can with this investigation. Now, as far as Vital Security, who is also named in that lawsuit, I spoke with the attorney who is representing them. He said they haven't even received the lawsuit that was filed on Monday. Matt?
The building and security company lawsuits continue. Revelations include complaints against Duxbury for abuse of authority and harassment. The suit against the lockmaker stalled when the tenant after the murder had replaced the device, leaving the original unavailable for inspection. But Samsudean representatives point to studies showing those locks could be easily hacked as proof of a defective product. In 2019, Duxbury's lawyers appealed over the polygraph responses about his apparent knowledge of Sasha's death details being presented to the jury. Their request for a new trial was denied. Today, Stephen Duxbury serves his life sentence at Graceville Correctional Facility in Florida, where he will remain for taking the life of Sasha Samsudean. To those who knew her, Sasha was so much more than a victim of the predator charged with protecting her. Intelligent, funny, beautiful, and kind, her loss left them struggling to comprehend how something so horrific could happen to someone without an enemy. Besides excelling at work, Sasha loved animals, especially her dog Chewy, baking, and spending time with loved ones. Despite defense attempts to portray her as reckless, she was an innocent victim who merely trusted a cold, calculating killer disguised as her protector. Her only fault was putting faith in the wrong person. Sasha Samsudean's murder remains a senseless tragedy and sobering reminder that evil often wears a disguise. While her loved ones still grieve, they find solace knowing justice was served in her name. Sasha's memory lives on as a vibrant young woman whose light was dimmed far too soon by unimaginable brutality. By honoring her story, we vow to never forget Sasha and the many others who have suffered similar fates. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.